Hey everyone, and welcome back to Practically Zero Waste, a podcast about making zero waste living as practical as possible. For today's episode, my friend Christina and I teamed up to chat about some of our best tips for secondhand shopping for someone who's just starting out. Buying secondhand first is one of the best ways to reduce thoughtless consumerism and needless waste when it comes to the objects that we own. Hopefully a few little tips will be just the inspiration you need to get started. Oh, and if you haven't heard about Waste Free Planet's challenge called Secondhand September, check it out. I'll put a link to their website below. Nothing like a good old challenge to get us motivated to make some life-changing habits. Okay, let's get into it. Hi, how are you?
Good.
There.
How are you?
I'm good. So today we wanted to talk about secondhand shopping, in which you are somewhat of an expert as far as my understanding goes.
Yeah, I guess so. I've kind of been doing it forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw up. My mom always secondhand shop for everything, so it's like a fun little thing we did.
Like, what were your reasons growing up for secondhand shopping?
It was mostly saving money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great way to save money.
It's so smart. It's such an easy way to save money too, because you're such a experienced secondhand shopper. You have this honing in. You can find all of the name brands that you like wearing and really good condition stuff. And we've had lots of great times secondhand shopping together.
We have, yeah, we've gotten some treasures.
Mm-hmm. And you know all the name brands. I don't actually even know any of the name brands.
Maybe I shouldn't, but
You're just like...
Yeah, sometimes like certain name brands fit you better than others and you just like them because of that, or other times you just know the quality is better and they'll last longer.
Exactly. But we'll be shopping and you'll be like, oh, it's J. Crew, let's get this. And
You're my favorite brand.
And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but let's do it. Yeah. So there's lots of good reasons why one would do a secondhand shop versus buying something new. But obviously, one of the big ones for this podcast's purposes is because it's more environmentally friendly. To be able to prevent all of these usable items from going to landfill, we really encourage people to donate to secondhand stores. But then if no one's buying from secondhand stores, then what's the point?
Yeah, it just ends up in the landfill anyways.
Yeah, exactly. I do find that a lot of stuff in secondhand stores now are all kind of fast fashion things, and so you have to do a little bit of treasure hunting if you want to find something that's not going to wear out just as quickly. Do you find that now?
It does depend on like the area of like the demographic of the secondhand shop, right? So if you get ones that are in more of a high income area, you go to one of those secondhand shops. The people that donate to them tend to buy more expensive things and things that last longer.
That's true.
Yeah, so I find just knowing when you're going out to a secondhand store, like, well, which demographic would be in this area so that you can find like a good one to go to. You'll find more stuff in those secondhand stores.
That is so smart. I had not even thought of that.
Yeah, I really noticed that because when I moved to Hamilton for school, the secondhand stores there are amazing.
Oh, good.
Especially in like Ancaster area. Yeah, I miss my Hamilton secondhand shopping.
What is a good reason to shop at a secondhand store other than it's cheap?
I'd say it's like the environmental one for sure, which is why you're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Just knowing that like by buying from secondhand stores, you're not contributing to the fast fashion industry, that you're reusing something and extending its life that would otherwise get wasted.
Yeah.
That's a good reason. Yeah. But other than that, like, I love the excitement of not knowing, like, when you go, what you're going to find. Yeah, and, like, you could go with a whole list of things and just be open to finding, like, any one of those things on that list, and not necessarily all of them. You might just find it like a treasure in one of those areas.
I love that. I love being open to whatever you're going to find, because you're right. You might have a very specific thing in mind and you wouldn't be able to find maybe that exact thing. Like if you want a pair of jeans from American Eagle, if you're looking for something very specific, then maybe you wouldn't find that. Or if you were looking for a butter dish that's in the shape of a swan, then you're not going to find something specific like that. But being open, saying, I would like a butter dish when I'm going to this secondhand store, or I need new pots or something like that, just being open to what you're going to find is a better way to do it.
Yeah, and you can have like a general kind of aesthetic that you're going for, like maybe a color scheme or something, and then that kind of directs it a little bit, but leaves it open enough that you're still likely to find something. I remember seeing this, I guess a blog post on someone's like kitchen design, and they had bought their dishes all at secondhand, like different secondhand stores.
Mm-hmm.
But they had gone with a scheme of like white with like blue floral designs around the edge on them. So they had the dishes really fit well together, but they were kind of mismatched in a stylish type of way.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you like pottery?
Pottery.
You really
I
like
love
pottery. And do you find that pretty easy to find in secondhand stores or no?
There's a ton of pottery mugs in secondhand stores.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised. And like other dishes too. Most of my dishes are pottery, but I find like you go to buy a pottery dish on Etsy and it's like $50 for one.
Mm-hmm.
I've got most of my mugs for gotten most of like my dishes for 50 cents to $1 each. They're pottery. They're beautifully made.
Mm-hmm.
And mismatched in a stylish way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. And so that's important too, is that when you're shopping secondhand, you're not just going to find old, dingy kind of an aesthetic. You're going to find all kinds of different things because people are constantly donating things. It's not that the things in the store are only from 30 years ago. So your style could easily be accommodated by any secondhand store. If it's modernist, if you are really into a farmhouse country thing, if you're I don't know, what are some other styles?
Yeah, I don't know, just whimsical maybe, or
Mm-hmm.
China. Some people love those like China teacups, those are all over the place, secondhand stores.
Mm-hmm. It's good, and so many things have already been proofed where you know that an object is sturdy and safe because it has been proofed by time. It has been previously used and previously loved. It's going to be good. It's not going to fall apart on you. But when you're getting something that's pretty hardy, like a wood cutting board or a metal pot or a cast iron pan or something like that you found in a secondhand store, odds are pretty good that it's going to be pretty tough and will continue to last you for a long time.
I find that's particularly true for clothes because some of the clothes that I've bought new before, you wash them and after like one wash, they're covered in pills. They're there, stretched out in weird shapes, and then you don't wear them a second time because they don't look right.
Mm-hmm.
But with secondhand clothing,
exactly.
So you know what they're going to look like after they're washed.
Yeah, so that's what I love about buying jeans and anything that's wool or cashmere because you know that somebody has washed it, and so if it fits you in the store, then that's a good sign.
Definitely true.
Just natural fiber clothing, if that's something that somebody wants to really start every time they buy a new item of clothing to make sure that it's cotton, linen, wool, silk, then
those are the big ones.
Yeah, you're going to find those for a far cheaper price than if you were buying them brand new, because a wool sweater or a wool blanket or anything like that, those materials would be really expensive brand new, but if you can find them in a secondhand store, then they're usually in still really good condition and they're a lot cheaper.
Well, like those materials tend to wear really well too. So when you find a good quality piece at a secondhand store, like some of them last you forever.
Mm-hmm. And have probably already lasted somebody a really long time.
Oh yeah.
It's nice too because it really slows you down. If you make a pledge to only shop secondhand or to at least look for something secondhand first, then it's nice because you have to take your time to look for something. It may take several trips to different thrift stores or over a longer period of time before you find that thing that you really like. We've been looking for a bookshelf for a really long time, and I found one and then went back the next day with someone with a bigger vehicle, and it had already been bought. It was so sad.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
Oh, you have to buy it. If you know, if you know you love it in the store, then you have to get it then because it's not that they have anything else in stock. You would have to.
I sometimes go and buy things in anticipation of needing them because you can't plan on finding it right when you need it often. Mm-hmm. So what's coming? I need new boots, so I'll go a few months ahead.
Yeah, start looking ahead of time. Do you have a favorite thrift store of the many ones in Canada? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, like a particular location or just
this specific Value Village or just one of the big chains?
I do like Value Village. There's a lot of good Value Village stores in Toronto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know how to compare Tilly's, Value Village, Salvation Army, locally owned.
Yeah, it kind of depends so much on the demographic. There's a great Tilly's in Ancaster that I went to all the time. There is no Tilly's in Toronto, so...
No?
one in a while. Nope. We have Kind Exchange here, which is more like trendy young people clothing, but it tends to be more expensive too.
Young people clothing as if you're not a young person.
I know, but like, yeah, I like more of the classic pieces that you can make them fun or you can...
Exactly, yeah.
But young people clothing tends to be stuff that's mass produced and everyone's wearing it.
I think that my favorite chain is usually Salvation Army. At least here in Brampton, I find that people don't often think of Salvation Army as their first choice for making a donation. They usually think Value Village, Talese, that sort of thing. And I don't know, I kind of love it.
These are some real treasures.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, have you found any treasures lately?
I don't know, I really like this bundt pan that I bought recently. I needed a cake pan. So I bought this bundt pan, and it's just pure metal, got a white creamy ceramic coating look to it, and this beautiful fluted edge. Anyway, I just really like it. And it was $4. It's really heavy too. I think an overlooked area in the conversation about buying secondhand is Kijiji and Craigslist, because I think that, do people think to look there first for obscure things like, I want to own a pair of Blundstones, or I need to buy secondhand reusable diapers, or
yeah,
furniture.
Probably not so much, eh?
Yeah.
For small, I think people don't post those things like on Kijiji as much either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe they do and I just don't look for them, but I always associate Kijiji with like furniture.
Yeah.
Furniture, or, like cars. Or,
yeah,
but definitely, worth a shot at looking if you know like specifically what you want. Otherwise, it's hard to look that up.
Appliances too, actually. I think, was it on Kijiji that your mom got that Vitamix?
Oh yeah, my mom got the 20-year-old Vitamix that works like it's brand new for like $50.
Yeah, which is insane because a Vitamix costs upwards of $500 if you're getting a new one, and now they're all plastic. So
yeah, there's a stainless steel.
Yeah. So if you knew like a specific appliance that you wanted, so many people get things as wedding presents or as random gifts from other people new and already have it or don't want that kind or something. And so they'll often sell it, but they can't sell it for as much as it was new. And even then, you're saving a little bit of money by shopping secondhand.
For sure. Actually, I was just on Kijiji this morning, getting one of those push lawnmowers from. I just moved to a new house. We need a lawnmower, and I found one. So it's the one with the blades that spin as you push it, so it doesn't need gas or electricity. We just have a little tiny area of grass to cut.
That's going to be really exhausting to cut your tiny bit of lawn. That's awesome. What kind of condition is it in? Is it rusty or?
I think it's pretty good. I'm not sure. We might have to sharpen the blades when we get it, but
yeah, I like how sustainable that is. You just have to sharpen the blades. You don't actually have to do much other maintenance for it, except maybe make sure it doesn't rust.
Exactly. You get in a workout every time you get your grass. Perfect.
Woo! That's the best part, really. I think my favorite Kijiji purchase from past few years is our bed frame. And so the bed frame that we bought is this queen size sleigh bed. And it's this beautiful, it's wood, it's got all kinds of little details in the carvings, it's super hefty. We just built, this makes it sound super handy, it was actually a really stressful process, but we built runners just out of 2x4s and cut everything out and got the right hardware from Lee Valley and put this bed together. But it's the coolest thing that I own, especially since it's secondhand, but also just because it's so beautiful and old looking and makes our room seem really nice. I think often we think of secondhand as being dingy and old and, I don't know, unappealing for some reason. Do you find that?
Well, I think some of my friends do. I don't have that association with it. Like, when I think of secondhand, like, I think there's a lot of possibility to find things that are really classic and really, got lots of character, you know? More traditional or even quirky things. Like, I find great vintage finds sometimes that you can never find new.
I know. I almost want to just walk around the apartment and point out all the different things that I've got secondhand that I really love. I don't know. I have a weigh scale for when I'm baking bread or, I don't know, need to measure something in the kitchen. And it's Starfrit brand, but they make a lot of things new that imitate the old-fashioned appliances and old-fashioned things and are usually pretty mechanical instead of electronic. And so it's not a digital scale, it's a manual scale. I like it a lot. That's one of my other favorite recent purchases. And that was just Kijiji. It was like $5. Who puts something up for $5 on Kijiji? It's just,
yeah, I don't know.
That's less money than I'd probably pay in gas to drive across town to get it, but it's still pretty sweet. What are some tips for secondhand shopping?
I'd say look for things that you can wash for sure, like whether it's clothes or other things for the kitchen or house, if you want things that you can clean. And then I would say like drive a little further to go to the places with a demographic that maybe has a better secondhand store. Mm-hmm. You might find more there. And then like look through the clothing that's not your size maybe. Like if you're a small, look through the mediums or the extra smalls too, because sometimes when they wash they'll like shrink, for instance. So like when it says medium might actually be your size.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and then again, natural fibers thing. If you can like feel as you're going through the clothes with your hands, like what the nice fibers are. It saves so much time from like looking through everything. You're just like, oh, this one's really nice. It's gonna be like comfortable to wear.
Exactly.
And then you can look at it and see like what it looks like.
I just love running my hands through all clothing racks as I'm shopping, but especially in a secondhand store. If you can learn the texture of cashmere or wool or anything that you're really fond of, just to be able to recognize that. I always read the tags in the store that says what it's made out of and the washing instructions to make sure it's not super complicated. That little bit of a thrill when you guess, oh, I think this is cashmere, and you look at it is cashmere. It's not just some like crazy impressive synthetic fiber. It's a nice feeling.
Exactly.
I think one of my tips for secondhand shopping would be don't buy something because it's cheap, but buy it for the right reasons. So I don't know if other people have a list of criteria, but for me, I have to like the look of it on me in the store. I have to kind of like how it looks so that means I can pair it with all kinds of different outfits. I used to buy things thinking, oh, well, I like to sew, so I can just adjust this or take this in or fix this little thing. If it's a small repair, then that's totally fine. But if it's completely altering a piece of clothing, I'm probably never going to get around to doing it, so I should not get it for that reason.
Yeah, and it depends on like your level and comfort with sewing too, because I have a good friend, so she's really petite, but she bought a dress that was size 13 or something, and she took it down like 6 sizes because she really liked the dress and like added sleeves and did all this crazy stuff to it.
Wow.
But she always does that at secondhand stores, and she is able to get them to like fit her perfectly. And I'm like, I couldn't do that, so I wouldn't try, but like she has a lot of luck doing that.
Yeah, that's very impressive. I think I really like sewing, but I don't really do it very well. And so I have bought things thinking I can fix this or I can make it better. And I don't wear it. I have ruined a shirt that I thought I'd like because I sewed it without a plan.
The other thing for that is like for me, I love secondhand clothing. So what I've found in Toronto is that there are like clothing swaps that you can go to. They advertise on Facebook. I went to a clothing swap about 6 months ago. Yeah. And I got so many cool new things, but you also get to get rid of some of the stuff from your closet that you haven't worn a lot lately. So you're not like adding more and more.
That's awesome.
Stuff, but you still get, like, yeah.
I think I remember those happening just on campus and university. People would set up clothing swaps, and it was just a bunch of clothing spread out in the common area, and anybody could come and take and leave something, or not at all. You just, look around and see what it was, and they had a washroom nearby so you could try it on, and it was really cool.
Yeah. I find if you're used to secondhand shopping, like, you can usually pick out things that are, like, the right shape or the right fit for you, even if you can't try them on. So I got really lucky the last clothing swap I went to. I found this great pair of pants, and I couldn't try it on, but I was like, these look like my size, so I'm going to take them. I love them.
That's awesome. In a little locally owned thrift store downtown, there was a tiny little maternity section, and I got my first pair of maternity jeans for $5, and it was so exciting to find not only jeans that were maternity in a color of jean that I like, but also that they fit me and that they were $5. You really feel like a treasure hunter when you're discovering things in thrift stores.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
I was just remembering, thinking back to, do you remember when we did the watercolor painting?
Oh, right, and we looked for frames.
We did. We found a ton of old frames in my attic and just painted them with white paint. I think it was like priming paint or something.
Yeah, that was from the summer that I painted your attic.
Today.
I do too. I have them all around my house. See, that's something nice too, is that, so we've talked lots about clothing and maybe kitchen items, but secondhand stores are basically a department store. Like, you can find absolutely any category of thing at a secondhand store. So yeah, buying picture frames. If you look hard enough and if you shop patiently for something, then you're going to find it. Because you can find really ugly things in thrift stores too that have maybe a really cool texture to the frame or some amazing design that if you just paint them to match the decor in your house, then it looks awesome. Mm-hmm. Other really nice things that I've got secondhand are all of our bedding. I don't think I have bought brand new sheets since living at home. Every set of sheets, I have queen size sheets, I have ones for single beds, I have all the pillowcases, and everything was secondhand. And that's so smart because a sheet set is sometimes upwards of $40 to $50 for a set of sheets. And so then if you're buying them for $1 to $2 instead, then it's awesome.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Money, and they're often like things like flannel, they get better the more you wash them too. They get softer. Yeah.
We have a beautiful duvet cover that has all this nice embroidery on it that's just white. I found a cotton blanket that goes with it, and our set of sheets, all of our pillowcases. I think I bought all of our bedding for under $20.
Like all combined for under $20?
Yeah.
That is great.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good luck with the secondhand shopping.
Yeah. It does take practice though, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find some people are just so overwhelmed by like how everything's not perfectly organized. Or, yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that Will cringe when he goes to a secondhand store because everything is so tightly packed. All of the clothing racks are so tightly packed that especially he notices it at Talise, all of the coat hangers have a squeak. So every person moving every single item of clothing on a rack to look at them is making a squeak sound that drives them nuts.
Weird. I've never noticed that, but
I never noticed it either until he pointed it out, so sorry to have ruined secondhand shopping for everyone now, but yeah, you just gotta power through it. It's worth it. I guess another tip is to not go in a rush. I think we've kind of talked about that, how you have to sometimes revisit a store several times to find something that you really are happy with, because it's not always going to be there the first time you look, but people are donating stuff on a regular basis, so there's always going to be new inventory at these stores far sooner than any other department store would have. Yeah.
Okay, so best secondhand store ever. There's this store in Coburg called Beyond the Blue Box. Mm-hmm. And we used to go there all the time. It's like this locally run secondhand store. And so one time we were there and she found this lamp she really liked. It was like a wooden lamp, and the lamppost part was a wood carver sitting on a chair carving something, like made it of wood. She just really liked it. I was like, oh mom, like it's not that great, whatever. So she loved it. Anyways, she bought it. I forget how much it cost, but we got home and she like looked up like the name of the wood carver who had made the lamp was on the bottom, and she Googled it, and his lamp sold for like $500.
Oh my gosh.
So she just put a new shade on it, and she still has it. She really loves it, but it's actually worth money. Like it's collectible.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the case too. So not just with art, but with name brands of, be it clothing, be it kitchen items. A lot of things are a lot more valuable than they look when they are sitting on a packed thrift store shelf. And so flipping over items of pottery or ceramics or nice sets of dishes, flipping them over and knowing the name brands of some of those things too, especially if it says not made in China, then you feel like that's an even more special find, because even if you're just buying it because you like it and not because you're hoping to resell anything, it's nice to have these higher quality things that you can take pride in and feel happy that you have something beautiful or unique in your home. Mm-hmm. I think, if anything, a lesson for secondhand shopping is that it should help to curb the impulse purchase and this need to consume, maybe more than it does. I think that some people who have never been in a thrift shop before go in and get really excited because everything's so cheap, and then will buy a bunch of things and it's still just consuming things that you don't necessarily need. So to go into a thrift store with the intention of still only buying what you need and treat every object according to your needs and wants versus according to its price.
Yeah, I have a hard time with that one.
I do too.
Honestly, and sometimes, like, I think it's still better than buying kind of stuff you don't need brand new, because you're not creating that like consumerist demand on the stores to keep producing more stuff. So
that's true.
You're still recycling things, and even if you don't end up using it or needing it, you can still donate it again. It's not like you use more resources from the environment. You just spent money that you didn't need to spend.
Yes, so that's just a personal loss as opposed to environmental loss. So that's a good point. And I think, too, that all thrift stores are supporting some sort of charity. And so it's always going to be a win when you're shopping at these places.
Now I want to go secondhand shopping again.
Me too.
If you want to go spend money.
But there's so many things that you could get at a secondhand store that would just thrill you, right?
Oh, yeah. Good. Well, we'll have to go again together soon.
Yes, we do.
Okay, bye, Elizabeth.
Bye. Thanks again for listening, everyone. If you like what you heard today, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more podcast episodes. If you want to hear the podcast from the beginning, you can check out my channel for the full playlist. We really encourage you to try out the Secondhand September Challenge from Waste Free Planet. Again, the info is below. You can find me on Instagram at Elspeth Callahan, and some of our first episodes are over on SoundCloud as well. Have a great week, and good luck, everyone.